Hi, this is Lanny, and I will be doing a book report essay on the C.M. Allonge book, Citadel. This is her first full-length novel from her novella, not from her novella series, but like she previously done novella series, but this is for my English class, Mr. L. So let's get with it. Okay. It starts off with the author's note, clarifying that Citadel is a sexist, classist, ableist society. Words like autism, sensory overload, and ADHD don't exist in Citadel's vocabulary. And the author, she tries to portray Olivia as a nonverbal autistic, which with a possible side of ADHD in this novel, which takes place in a world that doesn't have the words for her. While she has worked hard and have lived with and related to people on the spectrum and / or with ADHD, of course, ran this manuscript through an extensive community of sensitive readers who share a similar diagnosis. Herself is a neurotypical. Neurodivergency is still taboo in our society as of the modern day. Yes, I know. Oh, scary. Okay, sorry. She hopes to see more of it in the media and will be dismantled that stigma in real life. But such good intentions mean nothing if we miss the real mark. Now, if you are autistic or have ADHD, I encourage you to reach out after you read this book, either on social media or through the Contact Me page on her website with like www, 3 W's and like her last name stuff. But fun fact, she has a TikTok account where she post like her other like works, little skits of like one of her like newer books, called The Iron Heart. It's called Cafe, CAFAE. She also has a YouTube channel where she posted the stuff. Now, at the end of her author's notes, she says, do not donate to Autism Speak. Frick those guys. But she uses the F word. I have to make this school appropriate. And she says, enjoy the book. Now, let's start off. Our first character that we meet is Elias. As he steps foot in the flooded forest, everything went wrong. It started out well enough with people went in and out of the forest all the time. Hunters, fishermen, and foragers had to get food they couldn't grow at home. The iron miners made several trips to the iron bog in spring and summer. Granted, that was less than a day's walk from the town, where it was safe, where no demons had been spotted in generations. Elias was going much, much deeper. And rather than trying to avoid demons, he and the other soldiers were actively hunting them. I regret every decision I've made in my life, he muttered, trudging through the darkness behind his commanding officers and other soldiers. The weight of his basket dug into his shoulder and with leather teeth. Sorry, words hurt me. Why? Asked Matthew. P.S. Matthew is like a friend of Elias. I shall stop right here to give you a summary of the book, because I forgot to do it in the beginning. Okay? So, here it is. Citadel is the only human city on the alien planet One moment, please. For the cut, I had to ask for help on this word. It's Adelaide. Weird word, but it's spelled Edalide. If you know what the word is, there you go. But as I continue, here it is. Ruled by the bi-weekly tides that bring both deadly danger and much-needed resources, but drowning waters, constant threat of starvation, and eternal cold aren't the most dangerous challenges. For the flooded forest is ruled by demons. Ooh. Monsters from hell sent by their vengeful god as pension for their ancestor rebellion. To save their souls and return to their former glory, Citadel must kill every single one. Or so they believe. Olivia lost her lover to the demons almost a year ago, but during a scientific expedition, a chance encounter reveals that the demons are sentient. A startling revelation that would get Olivia executed if she revealed it. Driven by the burning need for answers, Olivia embarks on a dangerous journey into the forest. There, she must face alien monsters, zealous warriors, and the demons of her own past. But challenges come slowly, and always with a price. That is the summary that we were given on the back. Now, my own summary is, well, our main character, Olivia, who is a autistic nonverbal words. I jabber. Sorry. Forgive me, Father, for I jabber. I'm not that religious. Okay. But she is ostracized by her city. Her father doesn't really get her. The only person who gets her is her best friend, her younger half-sister, and, well, her now deceased lover, who is Elias. To which, reading this, the first chapter will make you cry, scream, and throw up at the same time. I'm joking on the throwing up. I'm just saying that as a metaphor. But I did, want to scream and cry at the same time. It broke something in me. It broke me, really, sad. But as I continue, Matthew asked why they get to be heroes, go into the deep dark wood, the bad woods, kill a few monsters, and bring bodies home, win them, and he says, women love that story. And Elias replies, my woman already been in the woods, she's not going to be impressed. And then Elias, here's our first descriptor of Olivia. Not Elias said, but that previous sentence is what Elias said about his woman. But this is what Matthew says. Oh, right, I forgot you're dating that silver freak. He gets cut off, but the word he was going to say was freak. Now, that indicates that Olivia has silver hair. Does not mean she's old. In the story, she is 19 years old. To me, I think her family, particularly, has not her father's side, since her father is normal by air quotes around that word, by society standards, since he's the leading officer of the army. Woo! Imagine that. But she probably got it from her mother's side, which is true. But I think she might have a slight case of albinism, where your hair doesn't have any melanin. Yeah, it's melanin. But Elias punches Matthew in the arm, and so on, so forth. Because those two have been friends for years, asking each other for dating advice and competing over grades. They look alike. They even look alike. Here's another descriptor. Spiky dark hair, tan skin, tall, but with the only major difference being the freckles on Elias's face. So we now know, we got our description for Matthew and Elias, but Matthew says, the next thing is serious, it's fine, Matthew said. Most of these hunts don't work anyways. Demons are cowards, and they may be unholy abominations, but at the end of the day, they're just animals, and animals hide from men. And now we have the undescribable doubt sinking in to Elias. At this point in the story, Elias really wants to go home, I assure you. And I wish he did. I really did. CM Alonje, you break my heart. You break of thee. But despite they continue to march, despite the name, the flooded forest was not currently flooded. It was at low tide. The blue trees of the forest were each as wide as a house, far enough apart that 5 men could walk abreast. Weird word, but alright. Now, a little bit of landscaping. The alien planet that they live on, the flood forest, their trees are not like our earthly trees. They're not brown nor white nor any like regular color. They are an abnormal blue. Now, as a descriptor, I would say a peacock blue or a like vibrant navy blue, like ultramarine blue, like anything that is like blue, like the blue in the cover of this video and the cover of the book. Now, Elias felt naked in such an open space from the safety of Citadel. The forest was seen as a dense, dark, landed place. Now, I will be skipping ahead a little bit to the next sticky note, which is on the next page, which is page 3. One moment. Now, the next section, had to take a quick break, is of the lieutenant ward and assigned copper, Sergeant Benson. I will be free to the Benson Boone comments in the comment section. Get it out as you can right now. But the sergeant whistled sharply, glaring at Elias and Matthews. Hurry up, ladies. This isn't time to lag behind. I marked that one because I found it funny that he called them ladies. Yes, I'm an immature child. Do not judge me. But the two hurried along. Elias' foot got hit a large rock. He would have hit the ground nose first if Matthew hadn't caught him. He cursed, dabbing his foot to make sure he hadn't broken any toes. Why the frick are we doing this at night? As again, there are cuss words in this book. This is an adult book, but since I will be posting this to my teacher, I must keep this kid-friendly, school-safe. But now, let's continue. Matthew replied with because that's when like the demons are awake and such, and just a few hours until sunrise, you can make it. He grumbled, blah, 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 blah. But it was mostly, the story is that they're continually walking. Oh, here's an interesting point. He knew that it was rotten of him not to want to be here. Humanity's salvation depended on destroying the demons. The priest with an S at the end, like more than one, said the humans were once angels who fell from grace and heaven. Kind of given Mormonism, if you know what I mean. Okay. When they landed on this planet as mortals, the 100-faced god gave them just enough resources. Okay, quick break. The 100-faced god is Citadel's religious figure. It's confusing so this person has multiple faces. I think it's a he, I'm not sure. Most religions, their gods, like their head gods, are guys. I'm doing circle motions with my hands, okay. But this god has multiple faces for multiple things. Like one face is for wrath, one face is for love, one face is for humanity, one face is for healing, like blah, 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 blah. We get it, okay? Sorry, let me continue on with our story. Yay! But, they gave him just enough resources, unique crops, like wheat and pears. Why did I say that as pearls? Oh my god. Heavenly technology known as artifacts, and Prophet Riley Benville to survive. Now, Prophet Benville, I believe we will learn about him later. It's been a while since I've read this book. 2 years to be exact. I read this when I was in No, can't say that, sorry. One moment. Well, to survive, humans would be able to return to heaven as angels after they cleanse the world of demons. Now they were stuck here, and everyone who died was sent to the wallow of purgatory. Elias wasn't sure how much he believed. His girlfriend, Olivia, our main character, ooh la la, merci, sorry, was extremely skeptical of everything taught by the faith and flat out refused to believe in the God himself. So, the God was a he. Ha ha! Other people whispered about that the demons scripture said humanity had to destroy the inner demons rather than the winged monsters in the forest and that kept killing them. So Citadel has already begun to lose. Some people of Citadel has already began to lose their faith in this supposed religion of the 100-faced god. As you can tell that some believe that it isn't about oh, we must have murdered these monsters, these supposed demons, but we must fight our inner demons, which is very poetic, if you would ask me. But I'm not judging. I actually quite enjoyed the book. But skip ahead. We skip all the way to page 8. Oh. Now, this is where I cried. I almost cried quite a lot. Matthew's heavy breathing was... Sorry, my screen faded to black, and I realized that it didn't record what I had written down nor talked about. Okay, let's continue on. We were skipped to chapter 8. Not chapter 8, I meant page 8. Oh my gosh. Good golly me. But the quote of this page is, "The mighty soldier survives the demons only to be fallen by a tree." Matthew chuckled, catching him up to him. "Are you hurt?" Before this, Matthew and Elias have their team has been attacked by demons, air quotes, and so they're covering, heavy breathing. Neither of them dared to slow down or stop or slow down, even though they could barely see their hands in front of their face. And then, before, that quote, Elias tripped on a root and went flying. He cursed, tumbled, rolled, and landed hard on his back. Then, the quote I just read to you. Elias poked at his ankle. It stung, but there was no swelling, and it didn't feel like he broke any bones. "No, I think I'm all right." Matthew grinned, offering his hand. "Lucky you." Their palms gritted, and then something smashed into Matthew. "Matt!" Elias yelled, scrambling to his feet. He could hear his friends screaming, and he was pulled up into the darkness, then silence. Elias swallowed. He wanted to go into the darkness, find his friend, patch up any injuries he might have, and then get him out of this hellish place. The first lesson taught in training was the demons always immediately went for the kill. If your comrade was taken, they were dead. Didn't matter if they were still screaming, begging, or praying, they were dead, and you needed to run. He should have left me behind, Elias thought as he ran. He should have left me behind. So, during that internal thought of he should have left me behind that Elias had, Matthew had picked him up, basically, carried him, / ran with him, with arms linked, because they were getting attacked by the supposed demons. Now, let's skip to our next quote. Oh, shoot. I shall read this part, the next page, on page 10. Through his uniform and his skin, he managed to kick the thing off of him. Elias was getting attacked by a demon, quote, quote, wink, wink, and get on one knee, pulling out his knife. The blade looked pathetically small compared to the creature before him. Shadowed by the trees as it was, the beast was all black, fur and wings and talons. With a white patch over its eye, it bared its yellow teeth at him, most of them longer than Elias' fingers. He had his bow with him. He had a chance, but who knew where that was now? Crap, he said the other word for crap. Elias was going to lose. He was going to die. Well, frick. Other word for that one. He chuckled, even, as something in him broke. The water lapped against his pants, freezing his skin. Either water or blood trailed down his chest beneath his coat. He breathed in the fresh forest air that chilled his lungs. The demon prowled closer. Elias flipped his knife and braced himself. Let's go. The demon lunged. Now, this is where I cry, and I'm already starting to get teary-eyed. Oh my god. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting teary-eyed. Oh, one moment, please. I need to cry. So, after my short little cry break, which I didn't cry, I just talked out my feelings, what happened was Elias got tackled into, a pond-ish area, into water, sort of. He was getting attacked by the supposed demon. He died at the end of page 10, and then we go to the first of many notes. Dear Elias, they're making me go to an execution today. Execution. 100 frickin' hells. Because of, the 100-faced demon, there are, since there is a 100-faced demon, there is 100 hells in their religious society of Citadel. So, this note is written by Olivia. It's the first, and this is the first of it, right on the next page of page 10. But she's talking about how it's been almost a year since he died. Everybody's kept saying he's not really gone as long as we remember him. That's useful, she wrote. Memories don't keep her warm at night, or go stargazing with her, or mother hen me into annoyance. So, So she's writing how much she misses him in the note and how much she really needs him. Which is so heartbreaking if you've ever lost somebody. Now, I myself have lost like people that I truly loved in my life, in my very young life. But at the end, she says, if I ever find the demon who killed you, I'm stringing them up by their lungs. Love, Olivia. Now we reached chapter 1. That was the prologue. This is chapter 1. Descriptor for Olivia was that she has silver hair and she has a sister. And she had punched somebody. Her knuckles she had a bruised hand, and she and Olivia, not Olivia, Evelyn, I believe that is her sister. Not like not full sister, half sister. Since her father and her mother never got married, just had her, to which was, such a scandal in their religious community. It's like back in the day, like Christian communities, if you were to get somebody pregnant, you gotta shotgun that wedding. Hee-haw, cowboy. But Olivia has silver hair. And like Olivia was talking about about how she thinks that they should let their mom see it, which is Olivia's stepmother and Evelyn's biological mother. I am so sorry. Now let's skip to the next sticky note, which is on page 16, and where it says, healthy locks that had turned to silver when she was a toddler, a genetic anomaly passed down from her mother. So it explains the way why Olivia has silver hair rather than like natural brown hair or dark black hair. It is a genetic anomaly passed down from her mother. So, which means that her mother also had the supposed, probably, in their belief, disease. Quote, disease. But, okay. Let's skip. There isn't as interesting, but on this, just that we find out their last name is Claude, and Olivia's stepmother is, one moment, I need help with this word. Now, her stepmother's name is Ayesha, Asiya. I'm terrible with some names like that, but she's wearing a black dress with a white matron on. So, in their like a matron cap, which in their religion, in their society, you can look to Muslim cultures, where they wear hijabs. That's basically what the women have to wear, forced to wear when they go outside, and when they're inside they don't have to wear it. So it doesn't mean any guy can't see your hair and that it's sacred. No, your father can see it, your brother, any male relative when you're inside the home. But when you're outside, you gotta put that cap back on. And we find out Olivia's father is Ormus. I can say that name because Ormus is one of our main central characters. Ormus, Olivia, and we will learn about him. We will learn about the next one or two. Is there one or two? I think there's only 3 main central characters, or 4. All depends, really. Yeah, but let's continue. The stepmother, Ayesha, was crying, weeping, and all thank you, girls. And Olivia was quietly breathing out. She had done right. The water was rising. A soldier yelled, so the person getting executed was a man named Benjamin. Benjamin Franklin. Not serious. I'm being silly. But Benjamin has supposedly committed treason against this is their society that they live in. Here's his last name, Benjamin Novak. Ah, yes, a very Czech last name, I see, which is also very cool. But with a woman with silver hair, much like her own. As we can see, it says Benjamin tied to the post, but a woman with silver hair, much like her own. Olivia wasn't seeing Benjamin. She was seeing I'll give it to you, her mother, who, was supposedly committed for treason and died. Yeah, I'm gonna give you that big spoiler. Sorry. But yeah, let's need to skip ahead for a few pages. Right? Here we are. Hello, bookmark. Okay, page 21. There was nothing wrong with Olivia's vocal cords, so we're learning why she can't talk. Why Olivia can't talk. There was nothing wrong with her vocal cords. Several visits to the hospital had confirmed that physically there was nothing wrong with her, but there was no reason why she shouldn't be able to take the words from her head and to say them like everyone else. But while she could make noises, grunts, and hums, she cannot form proper words. That is something that I believe is very common within since autism is a spectrum and has many layers, like an onion. Sorry for that reference if you are part of the autism community. Forgive me. But there are multiple different layers, of that. So, as, you can make noises, but, you can't speak physically. Is that, a mental strain, it's blocked in your mind? Or is it, you physically can't do it? So it's when you're mute, you can't speak, but you can make noises. But yes, that is. So Olivia uses writing and sign language to communicate, which is most common for people who are deaf and mute. They use sign language or they write in book, they write. And Olivia always carries a sketchbook around to write that has a list of most common words and questions that she needs on a daily basis. But she does use it to write down stuff. Oh, crud. On the next page, 22, we meet the worst people alive. Gabriel and Michael. I hate those two. They're jerks. These two are Olivia's childhood bullies. They're officers. They're not commanders. No, slower than commanders. It's not lieutenants, I know that. But they're maybe privates, yeah. That was my special guest on today's video. But yeah. So they were some part of the law. They're law enforcement and they're jerks, and they sent Olivia into an overstimulation of sensory. They were being jerks to her, pulling her hair, being bullies, really big bullies for their grown age of 22. And they're Olivia, she's still she's 19, technically an adult, but still teen. So she's still a teenager in the eyes of mine. But okay, the next quote is, boys, oh God. The other half was how some this part talks about on 24. This part talks about how people would excuse Gabriel and Michael's behaviors as they don't mean it. They just like you. And it doesn't they're the cat. He's the captain of the guys, especially since he'll buzz or something. But here's the quote. The other half, including Olivia's stepmother, had shrugged. Oh, okay, here's their last name. Half of them, including Ormus, had given her a weird look and said something along the lines, the Bryku, B-Y-R-U-K, Broku boys, they're so sweet, upstanding young gentlemen. How could you lie about something like that? So, one half of their society believes that Olivia is lying about them being absolute jerks and heathens. They make me mad. But the other half, including Ayasa, Olivia's stepmother, just shrugged and said, boys will be boys. P.S. Nobody should say that. The only thing when you should say that is when they're being like goofy little like goofers, not like physically harming the other gender, other people, like boys will be boys, and like no, your child is physically hurting my child. Sorry, that's a little tangent I have with that phrase, boys will be boys. But, and like, they're just teasing you because they like you. That is so wrong. That might make sense for like kids who are like in kindergarten or like first grade. But like when they're like prepubescent little snot rockets, I don't know. I like kids. I don't know how to phrase it when like boys are weird. Ugh. But like anytime somebody says boys will be boys and they're just teasing you because they like you, that is condemning like abuse in the romantic sense of the word, like in any relationship. Sorry that was a call, but as I continue on my rant, like no one should say that's like a condemning like the person who you're like the young girl, mostly it's girls, like to end up in their adult life to be in like toxic relationships and getting physically, mentally abused by their partner. More or less it will be physical, since like it's more or less like pushing, shoving, and like physically hurting somebody when people say that. But still, that is like abuse. Like you're condemning abuse against the other gender when you say that. And like it which made no sense to Olivia. You don't yank on somebody's hair, call them names, and steal their things if you liked them. Elias and their friend Riley. Okay, quick cut. Olivia has this childhood friend named Riley. Riley is the governor's son. I hate the governor's son. He drives me up the wall. Okay? He drives me up the wall, but I love Riley. Riley's so sweet. He's such a precious boy. But Riley had actually seen it happen a few times, like, Gabriel and Michael, like, hurting and picking on and bullying Olivia. But Riley is a squinty twink. He looks like he could be, in my mental image, okay, picture him as like the most gayest looking, twinkiest man alive. That is Riley. He is, very skinny. He looks like your average nerd. Like, oh no, I can't live that. I got skinny noodle arms. I got those nerd skinny noodle arms. But like he's seen it happen, but other than yelling at the boys to leave her alone, there was nothing they could do. Olivia wanted to like go to her room, curl up under her blankets, and like forget everything. She had other responsibilities, and she was an adult. Dang it. She dealt with childish bullying all her life. She could deal with it today, too. And so, Olivia goes to her work, and she works at labs, as I said in when I read the summary on the back of the book. She works with, and like there is next to the center of the town, a block away from the main temple, there are temples scattered about Citadel, like all over. Like you turn one corner, temple. You turn the next, temple. Go straight, temple, 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 temple. It's like when you it's like the infinite Spider-Man loop. Like point, 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 Spider-Man. But it's just temples looking at everybody. Because of their religion having like the interface God. But she makes it, but like her and resumed walking, she was like walking to the labs when she got had her anxiety, her breakdown. I will say it is breakdown because it shall be classified that, or it could be sensory overload. I will say sensory overload because that isn't the most more accurate word. If you hear jangling, it is my bracelet. It has a little dingly bead that I like, and some flower jewels. Okay, I wear it all the time. But she was making herself as decent as possible because Olivia had been an emotional wreck. She was crying, all that. But the laboratory the main temple was right next to the hospital. And right next to the hospital, was a block away from the main temple, and right next to the hospital was Franklin Laboratory. It was the only research place that operated inside the faith and had been privately created and funded 2 generations ago. Hot dang, that was a long time ago. It's like your mother's mother, which means that's your grandma. I mean, your great-grandmother, if they're still alive. Mine are. My great-grandparents. I'm so jealous. No, I love my great-grandparents, man. But the building was once the building had been found, the founder's one-story house before he remodeled it to suit his needs, turning the living space into an office and adding a second floor to the thing. Okay, note that all the houses built and every building is either made out of stone and the flooded forest trees, which are blue. So everything is blue, which I find that so sick. Awesome, man. But yeah, Mr. Franklin is Olivia's boss. I would say he's a good boss, not the most nice boss, but Olivia's mother did work for him. One of the reasons she didn't follow through was because... Okay, so here we go. The next quote is on page 27. And make sure you follow the directions this time, Franklin. Continue. You have a bad habit of wandering off during these excursions. You have a bad... So, and it scare us all half to death. Stay within the group this time, or I'll find myself another assistant. So Olivia is Franklin's assistant, and it says that in the lines, it says that Franklin has made that threat twice before. One of the reasons he didn't follow through was because of Olivia's mother. She was too tired to even pretend to listen, and he wandered away. She did, Olivia made sure, double, triple checked that she was looking good, although she was a hot mess. Yeah. She collected everything on her list and was stashing it all into her woven wool bag when the front door opened. And she didn't have to look up to it when she heard... Olivia didn't have to look up when she heard the voice, because she immediately knew it was her best friend, Riley. He says, I thought you were leaving for a week, not a month. So, and since Olivia is 19, and it says that Riley was 1 year younger and 4 centimeters shorter than Olivia. Twink! He is a twink. Mr. L, please take that for the highest thing. And now we get a major descriptor of Riley. He was 4 centimeters shorter than Olivia, with a mess of curly red-brown hair that he kept a finger length with a mess length. Where most of the boys in there, which almost every other boy and man in the town kept their hair cut close to the skull like soldiers. So you made basically like a buzz cut. Like, oh my god, like football players getting like that. I imitate the sound of a buzzer. But yeah, like they all get buzz cuts. But also, Riley was skinny. Skinny twink, as I said before. He is a twink, although it doesn't say that he is gay. We all assume he is. Please make fan fiction. Please, my audience, make fan fiction. I know I have a small audience. But he is very... Riley is very religious. He always, has, around his neck, peeking out of the collar of his coat, was a simple necklace with a blank mask-like face, which is like the 100-faced god. Symbol of the 100-faced god is what that says. It's the only ornament she has ever seen him without it. So Olivia has never seen Riley without his pendant of the god, of their 100-faced god. She opened her French page and I can point to why I'm here. It's getting late, Riley said. I thought you'd like to walk. I thought I'd walk you home. And she gives him a look. Yes, I've seen you beat several fully trained soldiers. Wow, the worst I can do to somebody is cough on them. But it'll make me feel better. I haven't been to your house in ages anyways. So that line is highlighted because it is funny. So funny. I don't highlight books. That gives me trauma. Not literally, but it pains me physically. Not mentally, not physically. But let's continue on. So the last time Riley came to the Claude's house, it had been a few months ago at Olivia's 19th birthday party. Happy birthday girl. Yeah. It had been tiny, especially compared to the lavish affairs normally thrown in their neighborhood, which Olivia hated and almost argued this year. So it had been just her, the Claudes, and her uncle. Oh, so it's her uncle who's the fourth person in our main cast of characters that we get to see POVs of. Well, not POVs, but every few chapters we get a chapter with the character's name, and it's just through what they're experiencing at the time. So we have Olivia, Riley, her uncle, and her father Ormus. We will learn about her uncle's name soon. I promise you. She had tried to notice the Elias-shaped hole in the room. So we get that she's packing for the exhibition that she's going. And she's are you coming to the party next month? He asked, I know crowds aren't your favorite. She pointed to where in her book. My house, Riley said, and yes, my dad will be there. Yay! We hate Augustus. That is Riley's father. We hate him with a burning passion. Everybody say hooray! Hooray! One moment, please. Okay, so as I was continuing, we turn to the next page, which will be 30. Although there is no highlighted marks, I will want to say a quick note about this page is that she points to the vaults and the temple, wordlessly asking if he'd maybe pursue the priesthood as a career. Because Riley's father Augustus wants his son to be part of, like, the big bucks. Like, you should become a lawyer. Yeah! I'll be a lawyer. You'll be a lawyer someday, not a doctor. We don't doctors are women's jobs. Which is actually kind of, it's sexist in its own right, but kind of progressive in today's standards. Because, like medical fields are, like, primarily, like, anything and, like, a subject to power. Like, doctors are usually, like, a guy's career, but, like, instead of them calling them, like, yeah, it's like, they're all chicks in, like, the medical field in Citadel. So let's go to right over on page 31, the highlighted parts. I put 2 sticky notes there. I can't remember why, though. Whatever. Olivia shrugs. Riley, and, like, nearing the top, there's, Riley says, that's right, Joshua's funeral. So, and we get a little tidbit about who this Joshua character is. Well, who he was before he inevitably passed. He was one of the hunters who got ambushed by demons a few days ago. His brother managed to fight them off and drag him back. But they couldn't save him. Olivia didn't remember hearing that about that, but, like, the news didn't surprise her all that much. Not 1 month passed without somebody getting killed by demons. Usually more. Soldiers, hunters, gatherers always had to have their wills up to date. If you don't know what a will is, what are you doing watching this video? You're too young. Okay? A will is when a person is getting old or, like, is in, like, terminal health or has a terminal illness. Why did I say health? I'll edit that out, or maybe not. But they write what they want to get, like, who they'll give, where their stuff will go. Once they passed. So that was interesting. That's a little tidbit. So here's another thing about Riley's character. Riley gets, like, constant migraines. Like, chronic migraines. As I said before, he's a twink. He's also very sickly. He, when he was younger, he constantly got sick and ill and always has these migraines. Right then, nearing, the bottom is, you're running out of pages, though. Olivia shrugs. Almost all her paychecks went into her savings, which meant she had plenty to purchase more books of blank blue tinted paper. As I said before, since the trees are blue on the alien planet, everything made via trees, wood, houses, paper, anything you can think of that is made out of wood will have a blue tinge, or is blue. So paper, it won't be white, it will be blue. So I do find that a very good storytelling. But instead of here's the official color, indigo. Indigo is what the tree color is. of the forest. Now let's switch over to the next page, 24. Riley takes something from his inner pouch. Take this with you to the forest, if you can cram it into that bag. Olivia squeals at the fresh sketchbook. It was a hardcover. It was a hardcover, durable, with several hundred pages, but it was small enough to easily fit into her large pockets. Absolutely perfect. She squeezed him in a hug. He chuckled. Be safe out there, Liv. Okay, reading this chapter, absolutely heartwarming. We get to see the depth of their friendship and that very small tidbits that Riley's in his first chapter that he's in. And I like that she has a nickname, Liv, which is a very common nickname for Olivia, but still, that he got her a notebook, since her previous one was that she was previously running out of pages in her old one, and it was much more durable and had plenty of pages. So I find that really cute and sweet. So on page, chapter 3, 6 years, this takes place in the past. There will be several, there will be chapters and pages, sectors where it takes 6 years ago, specifically 6 years ago, because that is a very important detail. Do your math. 19 minus 6. What is that? I'm chewing on my nails. No. But okay. Chapter 3. 6 years ago. They had came right after lunch when her mom, Sarah, Sarah's name is spelled very peculiar. Sarai. Sarah? I pronounce it as Sarah because, Sarah can be spelled the first 4 letters as they did, but as C.M. Alonje spelled it, but added an I at the end. Which is very, very pretty. I have to say that I think that is very pretty. Was at work, and Olivia was doing a reading assignment she was given that she'd given her. So Olivia's homeschooled at this point when her mother was still alive. Sarah had made the exclusive decision that public schooling wasn't going to work, so Olivia was taught at home. At 13 years old, she's 13 by the way. She had never set foot in one of Citadel's many schools, which was fine by her. She sat at the kitchen table eating cherries, a rare treat considering how expensive they were, while engrossed in a book. She could count on one hand all the people she knew who was born out of wedlock. It was considered a sin to have sex before marriage. Point that is a very, very common thing in many religions, that it is seen as a sin to have premarital sex and get pregnant, and have a child out of wedlock. Primarily, I would say that it more or less affects the U.S. the most, of people getting pregnant out of wedlock. Take a look at the surroundings, people, and the birth rates. La la la. And it was and it's considered a sin and difficult for single women to raise children on their own without any financial aid from the father. If such a pregnancy did happen, the couple almost always married, saving themselves from the shames and, theoretically, the hardship. Sarah Hall, that is Olivia's birth mother, her biological mother. So Olivia's name Olivia's name is Olivia Hall Claude, which is, I have to say, the last name Hall is pretty freaking neat. She stayed, so her, Olivia's mother stayed single, working as an assistant in Mr. Franklin's labs as part-time as a seamstress to bring in a livable income. It was an open secret who Olivia's father was. Nobody had missed the young lieutenant or Miss Claude together with the fiery silver-haired Sarah, or they had stopped courting once Sarah became pregnant. Apparently, and it was apparently a huge scandal when he married Olivia's stepmother instead of Olivia's mother. Olivia's met him once when he came to argue with Sarah over custody a few years back. So Sarah had kicked him out of the house and told him to go back to his freaking wife. Men, am I right? Especially in this world, men especially in Citadel, men think that that women owe them so much stuff. I'd say Riley, the uncle, are like the better of the two. Like way better, since one is constantly sick, a sick little cinnamon roll, and one is I have severe trauma. I do remember that as a scare. He has trauma, loads of it. Let's skip ahead. So, Olivia was absorbed in the character's crazy adventures that nothing short of a small army breaking down her door would have snapped her out, which is exactly what happened. Ironic foreshadowing! The bang of the door burst open and slamming into the wall made her jump, almost falling out of the chair. In seconds, the room was filled with blue-clad soldiers, weapons out. Now, in Citadel's military, the soldiers, uniforms are dyed blue, I believe, as camouflage, since the trees and most of the plant life, as the trees and most plant life on the alien planet are blue. And inside, with Deborah stitched into his jacket pocket, pointed his revolver at her. Let me see your hands. She dropped the book in her lap and held up her hands. She wanted to ask what was going on and where their warrants were, but the words, as always, caught in her throat. Her sketchbook was on the kitchen table. She moved to get Deborah. Okay, this dude's name is spelled Dabral. I'm gonna call him Da. Yeah, I'm calling him Da. So, he cocked his gun at her. I will shoot. First of all, what does a grown man threatening a 13-year-old girl, a 13-year-old child, telling her that he will shoot her, which is crazy. Sorry for the background noises. My mother and my dogs probably saw a car pass. Okay. Olivia froze, then she pointed. The soldiers swarmed the house, going through every room, opening So basically, their house was getting raided, and like she pointed at her book, like her sketchbook, and the dude, like the guy who was like threatening her, like I said, fine, like basically, and so she asked like what's going on, and finally, and he replied with, your mother's being arrested for this word. Heresy? Heresy. And then he like pulled out like a piece of paper from his his pocket. This is our warrant to search her office and home. You will be coming with us too. Olivia refused to mute until she read every line and made sure it was signed by a judge. The swoopy curls of Moses Barkley, Burke, stained the bottom of the page. And yet, his son Benjamin was the one to die in the beginning of the book. For tree is for the same hand as art that is. Ironic, isn't it? Ironic, isn't it? Now, okay. Olivia hoped to catch a glimpse of her mother, but they took Olivia to like the jailhouse, and like no criminal stayed ever stayed for more than just a few days, which should be a concern on its own part. If like no criminal has stayed alive in a jailhouse for more than a few days. Okay, I know, some heinous acts, that is acceptable. But if it's just, like, petty theft, that is just bizarrely wrong. Oh, the back of my throat is itchy. I hate it. Olivia hoped to catch a glimpse of her mother, but they didn't go underground. So, Olivia was put into, an interrogation room and was told to wait. She had the foresight to bring her sketchbook and reading book with her, but now she couldn't concentrate. Her, mind was going everywhere all at once. Is there a possible? But she was wondering what could her mother have possibly done to warrant that arrest. She studied plants, animals, specialized in nourishment, so that the people of Citadel might find a wider variety of food resources, which I say would be very great. So, apparently, Olivia's mother was a part of this, secret group, called the Blue Lotus, which, when it, was trying to, find, to see, hey, these aren't demons, these are, just animals, so, they were going against the faith, the government, everything that, and, which is everything, the Citadel's, runs on their religion, it is solely operated on, their belief system. So, think of that as, the Puritans back when. Puritans, and, the witch trials of all that, all those years ago in America. So, that, in their community, it's much more like that. And Governor Thomason, to which is Riley's father. Now say it with me. We never trust the governor. the governor and the government in these kind of sci-fi stories. Say it with me now. We don't trust the government in sci-fi stories. Okay? Okay. Now, several editions went straight into the heresy territory. It was like a collection of pamphlets and like a bunch of stuff. And so, yeah. Which sucks. Now, Ormus is like the one who like, and like, oh right, page number is 37. So like on 36 and 37, she's getting interrogated by her father. And she's asking like, "Wait, where's my mom, boy? Where's my mom, Dad? Where's my mom, Papa? Where's my mama?" Yes. And he, like, when she, like, said it's just writing, she wrote, it was, like, human nature to get, like, that she'd like, subjects. Ormus gave her, like, a look, flat lips, eyebrows scrunched down, nostrils flare. Curiously studying her, disappointed in what he saw, feeling an itch he couldn't quite scratch in polite company, which I found in the last line hilarious. And he replied with like, "Laws are created for a reason. Without them, we will fall apart." Of course, a man in the military and working in law enforcement would say that is such a basic thing to do. That is a basic thing to say, and you know it. I think she wrote that just to be like a little meh. So to be a little tee hee. No, okay. But she, and like he said, and like next page is 38 and has sticky noted. He replied with like very, and like she said like, "I know nothing," like, and before that he was like, "We're still investigating. As soon as we gather all the necessary information, the sooner you and your mother can walk out of here." And she replied, like, "I know nothing. Even if she did, she wouldn't tell anyone." Very well, he's replied. "Since I'm your father, you'll be staying with me until..." She was already writing Uncle Peterson. That is our fourth and final character that we'll be seeing through for most of the book. Now, Uncle Peterson, how shall I say this? He is, the La Delph. He was a Delph. He is a Delph. Whew, I'm getting all hot and bothered. Oh, please, Mr. L, don't deduct points. Now we get a little thing. And, like, Uncle Peterson, he isn't, like, biological family, but he is, like, family. You know? Well, since he's a relative... because, like, Sarah has, like, gave Uncle Peterson... Like, Peterson... made him as, like... Olivia's emergency contact, like, so, Olivia, will be staying with him in, like, any case of emergency if Olivia is in harm. Sergeant, and then, like, right below, we got Sergeant Abraham Peterson was Olivia's godfather and Sarah's cousin. So, my mistake, they are blood relatives. But they'd been raised in the same household due to the untimely death of Sarah's parents. Everybody but Sarah called him Peterson or Sergeant. So Olivia had thought Peterson was his actual name. Calling him an Uncle Peterson from the time she was 5. She did not tell her that his first name was Abe, But by then, the name had stuck. The grizzly old man with the salt and peppered hair picked her up from the jailhouse and took her to his small, depopulated house far from the central of the town, close to the farmer's ring. Now, there are several rings in a citadel. Farmer's ring, like, basically, think of any agricultural little job and, like, anything to, like successfully sustain a society in a small alien planet, and that's, like, a ring. So, we had our descriptor for Abraham was that he had salt and peppered hair, and he was a grizzly old man. Though the house was teenier, not thinner, than Sarah's and had a leak in the roof, it was still familiar. So, familiar, blah, blah, blah. Despite being a full-time sergeant and putting the fresh recruits through basic training, he usually had more free time than Sarah. This house is where a younger Olivia would spend hours while her mother went on forest expeditions with her boss. So, in present time in the book, that is what this. She will probably be going on like a similar expedition that her mother went on. So it's just so cute. Yeah. Now let's skip a little further down. But familiar. Olivia had to go on trial. The trial was the next day. Olivia tried on 3 different outfits before settling on a pale blue dress, mostly at Peterson's urging. If they saw a lovely, rule-following daughter, they might be more likely to spare Sarah. The dress was itchy and restrictive. Oh my god, that would have irritated the frick out of me. Oh, I hate when, like, clothings are so restricted that, like, you can't be able to move. Like, I have, like, note about myself, I have severe sensory issues. She even added a headscarf, hiding her unique silver hair despite all the time Sarah had told her to be proud of it. As I said before in the video, they're, like the culture with, like, the women and having to, like, have a headscarf or, like, a monorail cap. They, like, it's very, similar to today's, like, hijab, like, women's today's hijabs and, like, and such. To which I think, like, the town got inspiration from that. Like, that part was inspired. This part in the book was inspired by, like, hijabs. The courthouse was in City Hall on the 2nd floor. In a large convenous house with portraits showing the history of Citadel. Start off with the angel work against the 100-faced god. Olivia couldn't recall what had triggered it. Something about questioning his authority or wanting to overthrow him, or being angry about being forced to wear inconvenient white dresses. Me too, girl, me too. So, I would say, like, the 100, like, one of the things about, like, wanting to overthrow him, or questioning his authority, is very similar to Christianity's, like, belief and, like, how hell was started, with Lucifer, questioning God's, moral judgment and wanting to be better than him, and, like, make his own heaven. To which, as, like, in the Deadly Sins, Lucifer, is the representation of pride. Your pride can get in your way. Which is, like, everybody gotta be at least a little prideful to, like, get things done in their daily lives. But let's move a little forward. The angels losing it showed like the next pacing of the fall. The angels losing their wings and divinity and crashing into the Shadowlands, becoming the human founders. The third was Riley Benville, the prophet, following his visions of the 100-faced God to lead his people out of the Shadowlands to the forest. Now, I believe that Riley, our sweet, sweet twink Riley, not Riley Benville, to which I will refer to anytime we see Riley Benville, I will call him Benville. And when I see our regular, non-prophet dude, just Riley, I believe that the governor, Augustus, named Riley after the prophet, one of the after Benville, because there are so many people in today's world named Joseph. Now, the vision is and leading his people out of the Shadowlands. The fourth painting was founders building the first temple on top of the hill 400 years ago. 400 years ago. So the town was founded 400 years ago. Oh, wow. So, yeah, trial goes on. Okay, next is on 42. Sarah's wrists were shackled it starts at the end of 41 and goes into 42. You know how those sentences are. Sarah's wrists were shackled as a pair of soldiers escorted her to the floor in front of the governor. She wasn't wearing anything Olivia has ever seen her in before. Not her lab coat or cozy wool trousers or even the embroidered jacket from when she had to look fancy. Instead, they put her in a plain white dress that was more of a smock than anything else. With her pale skin and silver hair, she looked like a wrath. Wrath is, if you don't know what a wrath is, it is a ghostly, a person looking very ghostly. Okay. So as the thing continued, we have Governor Augustus, Governor Thomason, as he's referred to. He asked how do you plead, and she's like, not guilty, sir. Save us some time, woman. He was kept pressing, save us some time, woman, confess. Then it goes to Citadel calls its first witness, and it continues on. So let's skip ahead. I don't want to spoil anything for you. We're skipping a few pages, quite a lot, but Olivia, near at the end of it, Olivia does have to watch her mother get executed, to which their executional way, in Citadel's way of executioning a person, is to drown them. When the tide comes into the flooded forest, so it's gonna be a very slow and painful death. And they are stripped of their clothes, being nude. So chapter 4 is Riley's chapter, where we see things through Riley's day, perspective, which switched to present day. Riley didn't fear hell, because hell came to him every time he got a mind grade. So any any smell stronger than the faintest whisper of a flower made him nauseous. Candlelight stabbing his mind with a furious daggers, and if you ever had a migraine, you know what they are like. So, and so after Riley walks Olivia back home, he goes home, gets into bed, and as soon as he gets underneath the cover, the nausea hits him. If you hear any jangly noise, it's my bracelet. And when Augustus, Riley's father, hollered for him to get ready for the day. So it's the next day. He still had to deal with the post-migraine hangover. Post-trauma was the medical term. We have, as we shall say, we have a very medical nerd boy, Riley! Yay! Oh, I love Riley. I love him so much. But we get to know a little bit more about the 100-faced God and what are his faces. Since Riley is a very religious-centered character, but he's not one of those religious pushers. They push their religion onto somebody. So, we have in one of his rooms, there was a small shrine to the 100-faced God, completed with wooden statuettes of Riley's favorite aspects of the city's deity: mercy, healer, guardian, hope, and justice, life, and death. They were each built to hold a candle, which Riley took his time lighting. Elias had made them for Riley last year. Once they gotten past him fearing Riley was like his father, and Riley suspecting his intentions towards his best friend. Riley made sure to mention his fallen friend's soul during his morning prayer. So, the stone 2-story, their family house, Riley's family's house is a stone 2-story house that to Riley felt too big. Honestly, that would make me feel too big. It was designed for a big family, even had the rare luxury of a yard. So, with that being said, we know the economic standard and the way houses are built in Citadel, that having a yard is a luxury. So when you think of District 13 from the Hunger Games, that's basically there's no yard. It's just all stone. It's the Capitol, but as bad as one of okay, think of the Capitol, but think of it as bad and but as the district. Ugh, excuse me, that was a burp. As bad as the districts in the Hunger Games. But he was but Riley was an only child. Sometimes he would catch his mother staring at one of the empty rooms, naked grief on her face. It was a rare case of synchronicity. He and Augustus both tried to unite the spare rooms into libraries, an office, a storage space, a shrine for the 100-faced God. So, as I said before, Riley's father is Augustus, the governor, is the same governor who exiled Olivia's mother to be executed. So that is Governor Thompson and Governor Augustus are the same person. And add that in the checklist of people you hate, fictional characters to hate and despise. We know Maya is Riley's mother, and their family, the Thompson family, has a chef, like a cook called who is named Ms. Michelle with the E-N at the end. I don't know how you spell. She had made a migraine soup. Had made breakfast, chicken roasted with apples for Mia and Augustus, and a migraine soup for Riley. It was considered a broth, bacon, or whatever salty meat she had on hand. And we get a descriptor. Mia picking at her chicken and gulping down water as quickly as she can without ruining her makeup. So we know that Mia puts on makeup. She passed her delicate frame and features to Riley, but she had Riley's we get descriptors because we get descriptor for Riley as we get descriptors of his parents. So Riley has a very delicate frame and features to Riley, but had her black hair and dark skin. There is no racism. More of this society doesn't have racism at all. If you don't count the demons versus humans, I count that as racism. But Riley knew underneath her thick makeup and bright clothing, her mother's face was a wan, and the bags underneath her eyes almost completely violet. She mustered up a smile. "How are you feeling, dear?" "Much better," he said. "Well enough to go to the scripture study. That's good." Augustus was already sitting at the head of the table, a napkin tucked into his suit collar. He snorted. "That's the 6th migraine this season. I thought those women said you were supposed to get better." "Those women are fully trained medics who know more about medicine than you do about executions," Riley thought. Now, it is only women who become medics. It seems as a very low and womanly job. So men don't become medics in Citadel. Another form of sexism. And we don't even know if I would be selected, Riley. So Augustus wants Riley to become to become a soldier, and on an off time become a lawyer. And never mind when you're, and he's "Oh, you should, when you become a lawyer, then you become a governor just like your old man." He's very, very boisterous, very macho. So your stereotypical Andrew Tate. Screw it. Dang. Hot dang. And he was comparing him, "You should be more like Captain Clyde. What have you, I want to do a better running of this tire than I've ever dreamed." Yeah, he was kept on pointing out, Riley was pointing out, who would be a better candidate for becoming the next governor. Captain Clyde, Olivia's father. So, and Augustus was after Claude, the seat of governor has been in the Thomas clan for generations. You were born into this role. So it's a family thing. So it's it's basically a monarchy. All monarchies are supposed to come down at one point or the other. And like Ray was like, if you say so, man. Whatever. So, then like Augustus was pushing on. I was like, while you were on the subject of your, Augustus was like, while you're on your subject of your, while we're on your, like the subject of the future, of like your, Riley's future, I want to talk to Captain Claude about getting you a wife. Augustus said, Riley was staring at like his father and was like, a wife? Evelyn Claude is 17. Most girls her age have already have children. Hot dang. Hot diddly dang. So, like, the young girls are getting, like, married off as soon as, like, they hit puberty, basically. If they already have children. At 7, most girls her age already have children her age. And Augustus was talking about, like, how, like, Claude's, like, Oramus is, like, a good man, a powerful man, one to keep in my corner. Marrying his daughter will not only ensure but will give you strong children. Since Riley was born premature and has a very weak immune system. And for Riley, he thought about, like, marriage. And, like, to be honest, the idea of marrying Olivia had been in the back of his mind for a while now. And, like, Oramus had, like, suggested that and had gotten a similar, if much more polite, response from Augustus. It wasn't because Riley loved her like that. Most marriage in Citadels, especially in their neighborhood, weren't about romance. They were about family connections and genetic matching, who are going to provide both a healthy income and healthy children. Sometimes romantic love comes out of it, like with Oramus and Claude, but it wasn't something anyone could count on. Like Mia and Augustus. Yes, think young marriages. Young children are getting married in this society, to which is happening in some parts of this world. Yeah, I know that. You know that. We all know that. I know I'm going to try to stay on topic and not make this a political rant. I get on those sometimes. And, like, nearing, on page 58, when he was about to leave, like, the dinner table, he, like, paused past me and said, "That new dress makes you look like a whore." She smiled at him like a doll. "I'll change into something more appropriate." Okay. If your man ever you're in a relationship and, like, your partner tells you, like, that outfit makes you look like anything like a whore, if you're like, exactly, that's what I was going for, but, like, if you weren't going for that, I don't know. If they were saying it in, like, a rude way, that isn't supposed to be, like, that's just so rude. But since this is the society they live in, you can't really do much about it. So, next, we have one of the anti-dove laws. Doves are, like, the Blue Lotus, or part, like, of the people that are in the Blue Lotus Society. Like, people going against the law, to which was what Sarah had been a part of. And apparently, Riley. So, like, they're this annoyed. So, we were it's just going, like, about, like, how Riley was going to, like, little Sunday school, la la la. And he ran into Michael, Gabriel, the Bruick twins. Wait, no, that wasn't Benjamin, didn't. Wasn't the one. to get executed. It was Benjamin. I'm trying to find it. I'm going back. I'm just trying to find who. Ugh. No, forget about it. But Bruick, the same person to be like, I just don't like the Bruick twins, man. But like, they were like yapping to Riley about like how it's a low tide hunt. They're going into the forest, and we get a descriptor for them actually in this on page 58. We get a descriptor for them. Did you hear Gabriel called? At least Riley was faintly certain it was Gabriel. Both of them wore hoods against the chill summer wind, and that obscured the wine birthmark over Michael's eyebrow. So Michael has a wine birthmark. If you don't know what a wine birthmark is a wine birthmark is when a person, instead of like your usual brown birthmark that most people have, it's a red birthmark. And fun fact about me, I actually have a tiny one on the palm of my hand. Which, now you know. So, turn the page. They, like, the twins, like, rarely picked on Riley, which was why he stuck so close to Olivia until she graduated. Sometimes being Augusta's son had perks. So, he's using the betterments of. So they were like talking like crap about Olivia, and Gabriel said she shouldn't even be alive. Her parents should have dropped her over the wall as soon as she was born. Gabe, Michael scolded. No, really, she's an idiot. She doesn't care about anything. When she does get her way, she throws a tantrum like a toddler. If she's going to eat our food and take up our space, at least she can is be entertaining. Fascinating, Riley replied. I don't think I've ever heard someone say so fundamentally wrong in my entire life. So, and like Gabriel was like, people like her is why our town is screwed. No, Gabriel, the people in your town, the reason why your town is so messed up is because of the terrible justice system. And so, we now know a few other faces of the 100 Faces of God. Peace, war, vengeance, and wisdom. So, I was taking a breath, sorry. Now, let's skip ahead to 66. Page number 66. And why they all, we meet like, a dove. So, Riley is a part of the dove community, the same community that Sarah was a part of. And such, we meet a priest named Marcus, and Marcus is like around the same age as Augustus, with a large nose and one dimple on his left cheek. Behind him, sitting in the pews, was his wife Jane. Most men marry women younger than them to maximize the number of children they could carry. Marcus had done the opposite, marrying a woman 6 years old. 6 years he's seen her, also with a troubling family history of illness and stillbirths. And, like, no one was surprised. Like, when she couldn't have children, and, like, Marcus had, like, told them, all go to hell. Yeah, so, we're moving up a little head. Spoil it, anything. But, like, it's like, Riley was like, if he pursued law, if he managed to gather enough votes to be elected governor, and when the time comes, if he didn't get found out as a dove before then, and executed for treason. So, it was just, like, talking about, like, oh, like, Riley could make, like, their society better if he did become, like, governor, since he's a Dove member. But still, if he was found out, he would be executed. It was Benjamin Novick. Right. And I hate Mrs. Novick. I hate her slightly less than I hate Augustus and the twins. So, number 1, I hate Augustus. Number 2, I hate the twins. Number 3, I hate Mrs. Novick. Okay? No. She's like, Scripture was written by men, and while the 100-faced God is infallible, humanity is not. Scripture is a collection of some Benville's visions, as written as just like. So it was constantly yapping. So she was yapping about like how like the scripture was made. We're not saying all scripture is bad. Jane was like, but some parts of it has been proven more detrimental to Citadel than helpful. Like, some parts of the scripture has been proven worse than good to their society. Charity over, and like, if people emphasize the books of mercy and charity over the others, we have a much happier city. And like, Miss Novick being a condescending hag, said, she sniffled, that's a cute little fairy tale. Maybe it is a fairy tale, Riley said with a shrug, but it's one worth dying for. Like, so they had like so with like all that said, you get like, you hate her more and more. And it was Mrs. Novick, he realized, and the dove, and all of the other doves, and Sarah Hall, and Olivia. Everyone else who had been or at risk of being killed for following their hearts. He was a Thompson. That gave him power and opportunity so many other people didn't have. He had to take it, even if it was a burden. So, right after at the end of chapter 4, we get the next letter. Our next, entry, our Dear Elias entry from Olivia, which is, talking about how, they're letting her going back into the forest. So, we go into chapter 5. Usually, after every chapter, there will be a note from Olivia, her character, seeing what she's feeling. And, chapter 5 starts off with, Evelyn saying that this is ridiculous, as Evelyn was saying that. And as Olivia and Normus prepared to leave the next morning, you're the captain! You have hundreds of people whose job is to do this for you. The Clark family and Olivia were in the living room of their house one of the nicer buildings in town with 2 floors that were not shared between 2 or more families. Shows even more poverty into their society. And stoned walls, dark blue tables and chairs give the living room and dining areas an nostalgic feel. And Ayasa had made it look a little Homer by hanging frame art on the walls. Some of it was professional, some of it was Evelyn's from when she was a child, some of it was Olivia's. When Ayasa had realized Olivia was an artist, she constantly doodling and sketching. She'd asked to take some of the pictures from her books and hang them. Olivia almost had a breakdown at the thought of tearing drawings from her sketchbook instead of compromising by recreating them on separate sheets of paper. They look nicer that ways. Anyways. And so it was just going in about what to do. Now on page 73, there are, one moment, let me check again. There are, oh, Lord, this is going to be 2 hours long. Mr. L said if this was 2 hours long, it would definitely be an A. This book is 468 pages long. Okay? Now it's gonna speed them up. Now they were talking about how Citadel's women only were allowed to pursue a handful of luxury elusive careers offered to men and paid far less than their male competitors. So when you think, so it's in most workplaces women get paid less than men. It's just your casual sexism. Last year she was Olivia was looking forward to proposing to Elias and moving into a tiny house close to the farmer's range that he inherited from his parents. He's been talking about saving up enough money to add a second story to the house to rent out to other people the week before he died. But after his death, and with her being an unmarried 19-year-old woman with no legal claims to the property, it had been auctioned off to someone else. The other option was to living in the forest, and there was far more. So it was talking about why she still lived in her parents' home, her father's and stepmother's house. I told you not to bring your bow, or Miss had said, they were constantly talking about, what to bring, what not to bring. You're not going out there alone. The whole purpose of the military escort is to protect you. Yes, but it was Elias' bow. So she's bringing Elias's bow, the one he had hand-carved and given to her for the festival of Peritas. Ormus had scoffed at it then, too. Which one of you is the soldier and which is the woman, he asked. Casual sexism. Blah, blah, blah. We have casual sexism. Well, okay, now we skip ahead. Let's skip ahead to 75, third paragraph. Sergeant Peterson was the one who oversaw the operation, about Aramis and Olivia getting to boats and getting dropped off into the flood forest. What? Because it was high tide. Still, I mean, it was low tide, but they had to be since the wall was so tall, you got to get into a boat. Then it got to be brought down so you can get out. And like Judge Berg wants his boys to get some experience in the forest. With any luck, they'll be officers next month. So they're still like interns-ish in a way. Get jobs at like they would probably like get jobs at, and like it continues on saying they probably get like jobs at a textile mill, or maybe start apprenticeships as blacksmiths or iron workers if they were very lucky. Most girls marry around 15 or 16. Child marriages. So yeah, they got married. Wow. Yeah, the women got married really young. Real young. Now, this is where... okay. Oh, jeez. Now, we got 77. Oh, left. Now, the whole section is marked. Okay, now let's start. This is when Olivia got into the flooded forest for the first time in like a while, and we get to have our little descriptor for it. Olivia loved it. The air was crisp and clean, free from the stench of human waste and desperation. All the people in Citadel rubbed her ears raw. The tight spaces, the rules, the rigid lines in which she never fit. Out here, there were no rules. You lived or you died, depending on your wit and your preparedness. No niceties, no manners, just the raw honesty of the way things are. The first day was spent mostly in silence, though even though demons never flew this close to Citadel, so for now it was safe. Olivia spent most of her time sketching the people in the boats, the trees, the fishes swarming around the massive trees beneath them. The tree trunks were only obstacles when they had to maneuver around. All the branches were high enough to avoid the tide, and they were so thick and intertwined with each other that the boats were prematurely in shade. One moment. The sunlight that the branches missed was filtered by the orange and yellow leaves, turning the water gold. Oh, this word is confusing. Unojizuki, a type of mythical animal. Four-winged, two-tailed mammals of the sky flew in and out of the leaves, hunting small fish and other birds. One lucky bird caught a large amphibious snail, its shell designed to look like the blue wood or seed of the tree it lived on. The trees reproduce through big shell-like seeds that they dropped one right in hopes that the tide would sweep them away somewhere else, where they would take root and grow. She sketched as they rode, trying to capture the beauty around them on her paper. Gabriel peeked over her shoulder and snorted. I've never seen more talented. I've seen more talented toddlers, freak, he muttered. She positioned herself so he couldn't see her work and kept going. That was the first day, with the night spent sleeping on the boats tied to a branch, the gentle rocking from the small waves lulling them to sleep, except for whoever was on guard duty. Peterson, Michael, and Gabriel all took turns. Ormus was the only one with a revolver, while the rest had bows and arrows. Okay, quick answer for why why Ormus is the only person who like has a revolver. It's because like the machinery and like the materials used to making like firearm is very expensive, and like all military officers can't have one, so they rely on like bows and arrows and like swords and and knives. Like guns are more or less for like the higher ups in the military ranks. Next tab down, it's a greenish white flower with. Peterson had asked what they were asking. Peterson was asked, "What are we looking for?" And like the reply that he got from Franklin was a greenish white flower with a blue vein. As you can see on the cover, that is the flower thing wrapped around the face of the 100-faced god. We think it grows above the tide, too delicate to withstand that much water. If it's above the tide line, how does it get any water at all? Olivia thought, putting her silver braid into a bun. What about sunlight? She wrote in her sketchbook, "Get higher," and showed it to Franklin. "We're as high as we need to be," Franklin replied. "Not enough sun. Which one of us is in charge of this expedition?" Franklin snapped. So, and like Olivia pointed to her father. It was like, "Ormus, dummy." The vein at Franklin's temple threatened to burst. So, that's fun. So, in like this area, excuse me, my dog's making noise. Okay, as we continue. So, in like 74 and like 79, this like part in the story, Olivia climbs up one of the trees, and after finding like the flower they were looking for, so like she like people were screaming at her, more or less her father, telling her to get back in the boat. Okay, turn the page, and we have our next, page 80, our next tab is, we get our descriptor for, like, one of the demons. Almost as thick as the trees, in other words, as wide as a house, and 5 times as long. No, wait, not the demon. Oh, God, I keep forgetting things. But as I do 5 times as long, it drifted through the forest, sniffing at the roots deep in the water. Its snout disappeared from Olivia's sight. They only came into the forest in spring and summer, looking for a good place to bury and lay their eggs. Okay, the animal is an Ingenesis. Ingencis. So they're like some herbivore, omnivore, aquatic mammal. Okay, down we get, she signals, "I'm here, I'm fine." And because, like, Olivia, like, they were all worried about her, and she, like, did a little whistle by putting, like, her pointer and her middle finger in her mouth. Like, you know how those, like, oh, I wish I could do that, man. That would be so cool. but one of the things on, like, yeah, we get on the other page, because I accidentally skipped on 79, we get an outfit. The bark scratched at her palms, and she made a mental note to wear gloves the next time. It was a good thing she wore long sleeves and pants. Yeah. Gloves were definitely in the next order. Okay, let's move along. Move it along. It was only a couple more flowers. So, like, she found the flowers and grabbed some. It's only a couple more flowers, and only them were turned up. She decided to try and find its source. Where did it lay its roots? Anyways, within the tree or all the way down on the ground? She followed the vine down the tree, taking the flowers itself and wrapping the vine around her hand as she went. It stopped at one of the branches, twisting itself around the bark before stopping at a hard bulge embedded into the wood. Was that the original seed? How did it get so high? She was so absorbed in her study that she didn't even notice the movement to her right. Not until she heard a growl. She lifted her head and came face to face with a demon. So our protagonist finally meets a villain. Next chapter. Chapter 6. Okay. So, most demons that were brought to Citadel were already dead. Shot down by soldiers or even the odd hunter. The bodies were displayed in front of the main temple until the rot became so bad they had to be taken down and burned. Sometimes the priesthood claimed them, doing whatever studies they deemed necessary in the vaults. Rarely did the soldiers bring back a demon still alive, simply because they were so dangerous. The soldiers were forced to kill them just to protect themselves. Usually those alive demons were injured and always tangled up in nets. In those cases, the demons were killed slowly in front of the people of Citadel, wings, ears cut off, hot coals put in its mouth and belly, and its body hung from a rope until dead. My opinions on those two sections, is that Citadel, that is the most, like, gruesome, like, torture ever. Oh my god. Okay, let's go down, and we get, like, a descriptor for the demons. This, Olivia, and, like, how she, like, the demon that, like, was behind Olivia. This one was small for a demon, but no less deadly. Its jaw could snap Olivia's arm like a twig if it was so inclined. Its body was the mythological wolf's and could grow taller than a man, but its rear legs were talons, perfect for gripping branches. Its tail was serpent and feathered, designed for balancing in the air and occasionally treetops. The feathered wings were craned, fully folded against its back, and when they spread, they would be massive. This particular demon was cream-colored with the dark brown brown markings across its fur, not unlike freckles that matched his brown wings. Olivia would find it cute if it weren't for the iron grip around her lungs. That is the cutest little animal ever. Oh my god. Oh, well, you're gonna sooner or later love this sweet, sweet baby. Okay, so down further on the page, which is 83. Before she could she was wondering, why didn't the demon attack me? Demons go for the kill at every opportunity, so why didn't this one? And before she could ponder that further, the demon came back. This time she had her hand on her knife but stopped, wanted flowers, green pristine flowers, just like the ones in her hand. So Olivia, the demon, so the animal, demon quote had came back with the flowers they were looking for. Cute. It's been watching me collect flowers. It's been watching me collect flowers and did not attack. It's been watching me collect these specific flowers and figured out that she needed them. It decided to get me some. It decided to get her some, and it just remembered exactly where to find those exact same flowers. It's sentient. That, what I just read, was the moment of coherency that Olivia had when she realized the demons were sentient. So hot, dang. Now, okay, down we go. Now that she had her present, it seemed neither of them knew what to do. There were probably some rules for what should happen when you receive a peace offering from your species' mortal enemy. But even if Olivia had been normal, she probably wouldn't know what they were. The demon slowly took one of the flowers in its mouth and ate it. She found, studying the plant, they weren't poisonous to humans, and in fact, the whole reason Frank wanted them was because they could have medical qualities capable of knocking out a fully grown man for a few hours. Why eat one? She whistled. The sharp whistling made her jump. One short, one long, one short, one long, one short, one long. Where are you? Olivia whistled back, then made a shooing motion, like, go away, motion to the demon. He didn't need to be told twice. He jumped off the branch and flew away, disappearing into the forest. Smart boy, then smart boy. Smart boy. Okay, so after 85, we get our next letter to Elias, which, she's telling him, how they're sentient, and it's been a day. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. I have a life. Okay. Chapter 7, but going, the next day, she, burned through a dozen pages in her sketchbook. The men around her were quiet, which was fine by her. Even though she was pretty sure it was because they were angry at her, she wasn't good with facial expressions, but going by past data, it would seem to be the logical conclusion. She didn't know why Mr. Franklin would be angry, though. He had his samples, a lot more than he thought he'd get, too. Irrelevant, she had bigger things to worry about. Yes, he does. So, on the next... So, it's just seeing, because she got back down. And it's like, oh, la la la, what should we do? Okay. We're going down to... Olivia gave him a sharp look because Ormus said, Sergeant, which is Peterson, Michael, go with him. The rest of us will stay here. And because Franklin was going to go somewhere, and the boats were brought up to shore, and Olivia felt almost dizzy without the water constantly swaying her back and forth. Olivia wanted to go with them, but she can't because dear old daddy dearest said no because of she's on probation for yesterday's stat. Oops, you got a tail there, Gabriel said, and before Olivia could understand why she didn't have a tail, her bottom was so flat that she could barely see it. She barely had an ass. His fingers brushed against the base of her neck. The sensation of bugs crawling under her skin was too powerful to ignore, especially when he touched her hair and she jerked away from him. He beamed. All better. Ho, 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 ho. Righty then. I can't say that word, but she called him a bee. It's not the word for a female dog. It's the one for what people were called when you're born out of wedlock. And she's like, you knew how much I hated that. Okay, so down we go. They were API berries? I'm going to have a breakdown. Can't pronounce this word. So API berries. Thick, dark red fruit, almost the size of her thumb. She popped several in her mouth, smiling around the burst of sweetness. After cherries, these had been Sarah's favorite fruit. Elise had attempted to make her a berry pie on Sarah's death anniversary. But while the man had many talents, baking had not been one of them. Makes me want a man like that even more. One of the sticky note scenes that it's like, where are you going? Ormus had asked Olivia. It was further up on the page. I didn't see it. Now I do. Olivia opened her book to the first page and pointed to the word bathroom. She didn't usually mind crouching over the edge of the boat and to do her business, and didn't understand why it made men uncomfortable. They barely blinked at one of theirs, pulling out his penis to take a wee. Really, she should be applauded for taking their weird sensitivities into account and seeking privacy. Be back in 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay, be mature. Don't start making stupid comments. If you do, I'll know you're 12. Okay. So, on the next page, Ornis is looking for Olivia's where are you? And she had carefully scanned the trees to her right, then scanned them again. She almost missed the black demon in the shadows. Their eyes met. Olivia stiffened, ready to move. The demon did nothing. He was pitch black, fur and wings made of starless night, except for one white patch over his left eye. He was also much bigger than the freckled demon. Only they were human. Only if they were human. Yes. I have strange taste in men. Yes. Now we get a descriptor. This one was dark brown, for another demon. The other members of, the little expedition came, and, Gabriel knocked, Gabriel got his bow and arrow ready to shoot at the, demon, and Ormus had tried to get a clear shot with his gun, too. A rock flew towards the men, smacking Ormus' chest before he could fire, and a second demon flew out of the trees Olivia hadn't seen. This one was dark brown with black-tipped wings, but what caught Olivia's attention was the fist-sized rocks floating around his neck like some sort of necklace. Demon magic! That hot. What's special? She thought, fascinated. Reports of demons' magic were rare and had only begun surfacing 100 years ago. It seemed that, So, like, some of the creatures could control objects with their minds, rocks, arrows, and even humans sometimes. So, the demons have the ability of telekinesis. Neat! Isn't it? So, chapter 8. They began... Michael died. R.I.P. Not. Don't rest in peace. Rest in burning bloody hell. I hope you die. I'm happy that he died. So, Gabriel's the only one left of the twins. Oh, yeah. I'm fidgeting. I'm sorry if you hear any weird noises. I have ADHD. Olivia didn't see why they had to drag it back to Citadel with them, whether he was rotting in the water or burned into an urn in the temple basement. Dead was dead, but Ormus insisted and Gabriel cried, so she didn't write a word of protest as they covered the body and began the 2.5-day journey back to town. She had never seen either of the twins shed a tear before. The sight unnerved her. That's psychotic. Now isn't that peculiar? If you've never seen a person cry. Like they never cried before. Okay, so next highlighted moment that I did was Olivia considered the sketchbook for a long moment. The drawings of demons themselves weren't illegal, but anyone who saw them would ask how she managed to get close enough to one and why it brought her flowers. And that interaction, talking to a demon rather than trying to kill it, would get her tried for treason. Fraternizing with the enemy or something. This is why I don't like this government. Okay. The same thing happened, like, that, or something. There was an entire religious minority that called themselves doves, after the mythological creatures of peace. So, any animal from, that we know, your pet, to them, is like a mythical creature. They don't have those anymore, apparently. Yeah. But Benjamin Novak was a part of the group of doves, so let's go down. Now, in between sectors, there is a small little flower shape. That is supposed to be the flower on the cover. Okay? Just telling you now. These all are weird. The next morning, Olivia returned to her family home and routine with ease. Wake up with the sun, brush her teeth, and braid her hair, get dressed, trousers, shirt, jacket, no headscarf. Yeah. Eat breakfast, check her list for anything she'd forgotten or needed for work, and go. Very routine. I like her routine. It's very, very, very nice. Oh my god, I have the worst sleep schedule ever. She has a better-ish sleep schedule than I do. It is something. So, the Thompson house is 2-story building made of stone with 2 fireplaces. Like in the kitchen for an oven, the other in the living room. Unlike most other buildings, it hadn't been 1 story originally and then stacked with a second to cram another family in the same space. It had been originally designed for 2 floors and a lot of empty, useless space. They even had a yard, a rare luxury in Citadel, and a small flower garden out front. Well, poor economical stance. Poor. So, Olivia gave Riley one of the Pressian? Oh, when I said pristine flower, I meant the word was actually Prastian? I'm bad with English. I hate English sometimes, even though that's my first language. I hate it sometimes. It sucks. And she complimented this is beautiful. I'll dry it and keep it forever. Maybe use it next year. Maybe. So Riley plans on becoming a doctor and a medic. Something that's most common with the women. Okay. Down. Olivia frowned. Riley looked down, away from her, and his forehead was wrinkled. That meant something. What did that mean? Was he going to be sick? Did he want to be alone? Was he contemplating breaking into song using his legs as drums? Huh? Oh my god, I know a kid who would do that. No. That is the most musical theater kid I have thing to say I know ever. So chapter 9 is Ormus's chapter. Okay? So the part that I highlighted was which meant that this would likely go unsolved, like half of all the Farmers Ring murders. So, in the 101 and 1, this, in Ormus's first chapter, it talks about how there's a murder, a murder spree going around, and in the Farmers Ring. So, if we skip ahead to 106, is the next time we have a highlighted sector was when Brodsky, who is Ormus is the right hand man of Ormus's. Yeah, I'd say it's his right hand man. I mean, and he was Brodsky said that the Augustus Governor Thompson. Ugh, I always have a weird way of sending them. Okay, so they had an odd relationship. Ormus didn't like Augustus, and he strongly suspected it was mutual. He didn't blame him for executing Sarah. She broke the law. She'd broken the law. But he didn't appreciate how gleeful the man had done it, or how he constantly showed off his wealth, while so many in their city wallowed in poverty. Ormus, you're beginning to get in the dark side of how I don't like you. I don't really care for Ormus as a character. He's not my fave. Okay, so down here, we get a little showroom of Ormus's office. A few he'd had family portraits, and there are a couple of pictures by Olivia here. She didn't sit still for a portrait, but she could create one herself. She done the one of Isa knitting and another of a younger Evelyn modeling a dress. Both of them prominently displayed. Ormus also had a very old drawing of drawing Evelyn had done when she was little on his desk, which he kept practically for sentimental value and practically because it produced delightfully hilarious teenage embarrassment whenever he brought it up. Adorable. So, as we continue, it was the story of this page is Gus is talking about how demons are becoming bigger threats, so are the doves. Yeah, and he's saying all of them failures on our part, and how it's would you like everyone angry at us or the doves? So it's let's all rally against one minority group, the doves. Now, doesn't that sound interesting? Oh, doesn't that sound too common today? Ornis blinked, then blinked again. Anger heated his skin. It was struggle to keep his voice level. You're not suggesting that I frame innocent citizens for treason, are you? Ooh, innocent citizens? Heavens no. They could be anyone you want. No, he growled. I will find the real doves, which you will punish to the full extent of the law, nothing else. Augustus held up his hands. The golden rings flared in the light of the fireplace. Fine, but make it quick, because I intend to retire soon, and who would have a better chance of taking my place than the captain who defeats the doves? The anger leaked out of Ormus. He leaned back in his chair with a groan. You're blatantly manipulating me. Successfully, I hope. He sighed. So, as that was. So, the next chapter is Riley's. Let's see. Let's skip. Nothing interesting in his short chapter. Except we do have a prayer. But we do have a scripture. Okay? Of their religion. After the angels were cast out of heaven for rebelling against the hundred-faced God, they were stripped of their divinity and immortality and crashed into the icy waste of the Shadowlands. In this way, humanity came to the planet, but the hundred-faced God is a merciful as he is wrathful. According to scripture, he sent a vision to the most devoted and remorseful of the newest humans, Riley Benville, showing him the way to the forest where his people would survive and have a chance at redemption. After weeks of travel, during which untold members of humans died in the cold darkness, Benville led them out of the Shadowlands into the sunlight and the flooded forest. He immediately ordered the first temple to be built to honor the hundred-faced God. Okay, now down we go to the second part of the scripture. Is the first demon attacked on Citadel happened within a year of the town's creation. They came without warning, pulling children and adults into the sky and dropping them from great heights. Benville received a vision from the hundred-faced God who, according to scripture, ordered humanity to cleanse the flood forest of all demons in order to cleanse their souls of sin. The young man secured his place as the governor's successor by bringing back a total of 13 dead demons' bodies, still a record at the date of this book publication. So, the person who was reading it was a bleach hat. Olivia. Oh, it was Olivia. Yeah. So, Olivia, while Evelyn was it wasn't Olivia reading the scripture. It was Evelyn, because she wants to be like a nun, working at the vaults. And Olivia had gone to there. So, yippee-ki-yay. Now, let's skip ahead. Olivia had to resist the urge to roll her eyes and got a scarf, because she got called out by one of the nuns for not wearing one, for being immodest, as they would say. But, so she found a book in the library in the vaults called The Origin of Demons. So I'll be reading you the passages in that we get to see. Through most priests would have you believe that Riley Benville wrote the scripture exactly as it is written today. This is not the case. Benville didn't even compose it. That honor went to his successor, the first Captain August Berkeley, who took all of Benville's teachings and fragments, writings, and turned them into the beloved holy book of the Hundred-Faced God. I'm fine. Hundred-Faced God. As such, many of Benville's writings got left out of the scripture, including the exact origins of the demons. Accordingly, after creating the heavens and the earth, the Hundred-Faced God created several distinct classes of angels. The archangels, who directly served God, and each ruler of legions of seraphim, who are the secondary angels. Many of these eventually become human, and the Mira. The Mira were not angels per se, but holy beasts of burden. Through all, life is created to serve the Hundred-Faced God. The Mira were supposed to serve the higher class of angel to make their task easier, though it is unclear what exactly their tasks were to be. Benville refers to them as the guard dogs of heaven and heaven's hounds, so it is likely a guardian position of sorts. However, some dogs bite, and even the Hundred-Faced Dog can make a miscalculation. The Miras had hardly been created before they turned on their masters. According to Benville, they tore through heaven with tooth and claw. The skies turned gold with immortal blood, until the forces of the Hundred-Faced Gods ruptured. The Mira were stripped of their divinity and cast out of heaven, crashing into the Shadowlands. There they became demons and flew to the flooded forest to spread the rest of their wicked deeds. I find it ironic that humans, as foremost angels, had more in common with the demons than the Hundred-Faced God. Both of us were cast from heaven for rebelling against authority. Perhaps this is why the Hundred-Faced God has tasked us with hunting these creatures. By purging them from the world, we purge the shared sin from our souls, thus providing that we are worthy of being welcomed back into heaven. Other critters believe that. Before Olivia could have continued, Olivia had called out to her, like, "There you are!" and told her to put the scarf back on because she had taken it off. So, they met up, they reconnected again, And so that is what we learned. And I honestly, my personal belief is that in my little mind of sorts, it is very similar to the creation of sin from the Bible, as Lucifer had challenged God's authority and was cast out of heaven because of it. There he had became the king of hell, and so on and so forth, with other angels being cast out who followed Lucifer's trail, to which have became the 7 deadly sins, and the other Ars Goetia, which are other classes of demons. So let's continue on with this work. So they were just talking about the history of the artifacts and the things, so let's skip ahead to another highlighted part. I skipped one of the highlighted parts because it's just a little bit boring, and I don't think it's really that important. So, on 123 is our next highlighted part. As is obvious from the father, this last name, Angali. I have to ask for assistance real quick. Father Angeli's research on demon behavior, there is still much about them that we don't know. And though this essay focuses on demon anatomy and psychology, we should bear in mind that we are likely several functions that we are simply not privy to without saying that demons lies in the wild. Olivia noted the book titled by Father Angelia and looked for it on the shelves. When she found nothing, she went back to the table in the center, pulling up her scarf. Meanwhile, Evelyn was talking to one of the nuns called Mira. Make your K-pop Demon Hunters references. I'm willing to take it. I was talking to Sister Amira about wanting to become a nun. So, and in one of the parts of the vaults is that that's on the 3rd floor. When Olivia had asked for help about something, it was on the 3rd floor, and they searched, and everything pretending to the military is up there in the boys' club, as Mira liked to call it. Okay. So, boys have clubs, and it's stupid. Another note of sexism. Come on. Olivia couldn't decipher the nun's face or tone, but it made Evelyn frown. Her sister quickly hid it with a smile. And Olivia replied with said that I wanted to be becoming an architecture too. No, you can't really tell me much about artifacts, but that might help with that. So they were chit-chatting about all that stuff, which I think it's nice that we get to learn a little bit more about Evelyn. It's always good to get a little bit more depth to side characters, Isa, Olivia's stepmother, I always seem to mess up her name. Evelyn, and Riley's mom. Oh, Mia, poor sweet Mia. I pity her. Pity her severely. She should be cherished. But they found they found the book. Olivia read it, and under an hour, her heart stopping nearing the end. Here's a quote. What any farmer can tell you that an animal is capable of learning and proving a good trainer is something else. The behavior displayed by demons mirrors that of humans in many ways. Predators may be naturally stealthier to sneak up on their prey, but no creature with merely animal intelligence can set large-scale traps for their prey that the way humans do to demons, and I believe vice versa. The testimonials of surviving soldiers I quote in this essay allude to demons luring humans into the woods, drowning our soldiers deeper and deeper so they lose every possible advantage. This is not typical animal behavior, most predators will attack under any intruder as soon as they are sniffing their borders. This shows the very real possibilities of demons implementing strategy and tactics beyond the means of simple animal intelligence. Olivia dropped the book. Her entire body trembled. She shoved her face into her pillow because it felt like she was going to scream. So, Olivia had stolen that book that she was looking for by the pastor dude that was written by Father Angela, and not the next page after, but on right before chapter 12 we have another note to Elias. I won't be reading it to you because I feel cruel. Of course I can be. Anyways, let's continue on. She wrote a note to Peterson and, I believe Riley as well, about how she's planning on running off into the woods to talk to demons, to which she believes may have higher intelligence, probably even a moral code. How does she know this? Because she broke into the vaults. I'll be right back. So, let's go ahead. It was mostly, for a few pages, it's talking about the artifacts, and we learned how their payment system is through writing checks because they don't have paper currency, or making and giving clothing. It's Olivia's stepmother, she used she would make or sew or quilted fabrics, skirts, dresses, headwear, headscarves, and anything she could. And so and just Olivia would have just made wrote out a check. Meanwhile, Olivia also bought Riley a medical book and wrote, testing a theory in the forest, estimate return day 1 month, make sure Riley gets there. These, she had left them, I believe, for Olivia, or to give to Riley, but she packed her essentials and such. So, chapter 13 is Ormus's chapter. Nothing really in there. Then 14 is Riley's. Then on page 149, we get another note from Elias. skipping ahead again, we have this, where Olivia interacts with the demon, and she's like, "Oh, this is perfect!" So she drops like all her protection, and it's like, "All right, I'm ready," and like ends up getting somewhat attacked, but yeah, nothing too important. Olivia tried to sketch in chapter 16, found and plucked a new type of flower, but every time she tries to capture its thorny pink petals, it turned into Riley reading, or Elias laughing, or Uncle Peterson sharpening his arrows, or Evelyn modeling a new scarf. So she couldn't focus on like anything really as well. And we can meet a new descriptor of another demon, quote, quote. A girl this time. Oh my god! Her fur was dusky white, with one pale blue ear, dark wings that were just a shade too dark to be sapphire. She was also much skinnier than the others Olivia had seen, her ribs pressing against her fur. She snarled, showing her yellow teeth. But how now Olivia could think. The other demon had gone after her. This one went after her food. So we learn a little bit of that. Floating around, and we know this, and we find out that this demon has telekinesis powers. Floating around the demon's head were 5 savuvibas. It's hard to tell in the firelight, but the two of the fist-sized fruits look. Okay, so it's a type of fruit that the she-demon had given Olivia as a friendly offering. So as a little peace treaty. So we skip ahead because at the end of that there was Ormus's chapter, and it was 2 weeks had gone by without a word from Olivia. So he had sent like search parties after her and whatnot. So it was just like a daily life in Ormus. Him observing the governors, him and his family, Augustus and Riley during church, talking to Evelyn, talking to his wife, and him about like the random, like the string of murders in the farmer's ring. But I wouldn't say there's nothing too interesting happening in there. Then it was Riley's chapter. And we get one thing of like a nice little descriptor of their world. The moons rose in the sky, their grayish silver light reflecting the dry green flower hanging on the opposite wall. It was the one Olivia had given him, which he had dried and pressed into a frame. He got him out of bed and took the frame off the wall. His knuckles white around the blue. So do it or never be happy. He hadn't really understood how Olivia could just do whatever she wanted so blatantly and openly without knowing full well that people would hate her for it. Even though Riley had always been something of an outcast too, being a sickly boy with girlish interests. He at least tried to be likable. Of all his acts of rebellious was little or secret. He kept his hair just a bit longer so it didn't look like a military cut. Only a handful of people knew he was a dove. Even fewer knew of his career dreams. But now he understood maybe only a precious few people, if anyone, could truly accept Olivia for who or what she was. but she accepted herself and lived her life accordingly. That made her happy, if not happy, at least content. And now Riley faced the same decision. If he became a medic, the whole town would condemn him. If he became a lawyer, he condemned himself. He knew he'd only be able to live with one of those choices. So Riley's going through like an identity, like a career choice crisis. So we get to where on chapter 19, she's writing to Elias midway, but it is in a full note to her because she's been cut off from writing with a sharp yelp to see a demon. And mind you, the demon that had given her like a peace offering, she had named that demon Blue. And it was Blue who let out a sharp yelp. Here's a little... She had fallen into the water, flapping her wings, and landed on a low-hanging branch, snarling up at another demon. This one, Olivia didn't recognize. Unlike Blue, he was an adult with plenty of meat and muscle on his bones. His fur was deep brown and his wings dark red. He bared his teeth. Blue growled again, wings slightly spread. Hackles, feathers raised. Aggression. Olivia recalled from her lesson she wanted to attack. Blue and the other demon are fighting. And Olivia had helped Blue by threatening the red demon with her bow and arrow. So, and Blue was feeling scared because the weapons and stuff. But all was good. The child was Blue was saved. And so, yeah, on that part. Now we're on we're going to, one moment. At the end, on page 182 is a note to Elias. Again. So, we're just skipping ahead. Chapter 2 is Ormus's chapter. Now, I know it is a little weird how I keep skipping things, but it's not very important dose. This, I believe, is a Riley chapter, is still an Ormus's chapter. I think we're still in Ormus's chapter. Yeah. But it's Riley's chapter. Never mind. Yeah, it's Riley's chapter. This is next. And we're and the thing I had quoted is, yes, another dove. And because Riley had met another dove named Victor. New, I think. And another girl named Mary. She is also. And we get a description for Mary. The round cheeks made her look even younger than she was, maybe 15. And we get a place where a new building and where Mary works. You work at the bathhouse, Mary, was it? Is what Riley finally remembered. And we get a note of how long Riley has been a Dove member. He's been a Dove for 3 years. And Victor has been, like, wondering. Then Riley asked, is Peterson Olivia's uncle Peterson? And Victor's like, no, I haven't been. He was like, he was deciding, like, whether or not, since military workers would probably try to, and, which is fair enough. But that is what we all get from that. Then chapter 24. So that was chapter 3, yeah. Olivia, in the previous things, Olivia was given Olivia was given by Blue, the flower on the front of the cover, forgot what it was called, and to eat it. Olivia ate it, then basically passed out, and I wasn't sure if it was Blue or the freckled demon. We'll see, because this chapter we get to figure out what happened. When Olivia woke up, it felt like somebody had taken a spoon to her skull and scooped everything out. She sat upright and bumped her head against rough animal skin. She had been moved into her tent, poking her head out of the side. She saw that they were in an Unvan, UVAM, Uven field. Another fictional place, because I do not know how to pronounce that word. But that's fine. That's fine. Don't even know what that is. Blue laid on her side with her dark sapphire wings facing Olivia, probably sleeping. There was no sign of Freckles, Patch, or the new demon. Patch is the demon with the dark, the white patch over its eye. So, we finally get a little something. Olivia heard a girl's voice speak in her mind as clear as day. Still hurt? Olivia blinked. Do you still hurt? The girl's voice repeated. Olivia shot to her feet with a yelp. Dizziness returned with a vengeance, forcing her back to the ground. Blue made a huffing sound. Olivia suddenly saw her in her mind's eyes. Freckles and the gray demons scrambling backwards as Blue snapped at them and beated her wings, only to succumb to dizziness and crumple to the ground. She blinked, and she was back in the present. That had been a memory. Blue's memory. And she was hearing Blue's voice in her head. Have I officially gone mad? She wondered. Half of Citadel thought she was already insane. She didn't like proving those people right, but in the face of overwhelming evidence, Silver, Ishav, a boy called. Freckles flew down and landed next to them. A dead Nagazuki, a fish, in his jaws. As usual, one part, in this case a wing, was missing. While everything else still remained intact, Blue snarled, though her mouth didn't move beyond that. Her voice cut clear through Olivia's head, as if a knife had spoken. Do not call me Ishav. Freckles hunched his shoulders and wings. Not Ishav? He perked up, his mental voice like a child leaking sunshine. Food! He dropped and that is all I'll be reading of that part. And now I will probably get into a little theorizing for you guys. I think at this point, I thought why doesn't Blue like being called Ishao? Is that like a name? So does she have like trauma with that name? We don't know. Maybe yes, maybe not. We will be going on, okay? Another thing is okay, so what's been happening is that Olivia, Blue, and Freckles have been telepathically talking to each other. Mind speaking and mind reading, if you so please. And because like the pale flowers had opened the minds, so he even ate one, so she knew what to do. But obviously that didn't work. So when she came back into the forest, he tried, and like Freckles tried again to do that. So it was Freckles who fed the flowers to them, and Olivia could finally talk. So Olivia was able to finally communicate with other people without feeling muted. And we get names for Freckles. And it is, one moment, please. I have to turn back a page real quick. This is Yuxfer. Freckles said he is Sifter. He's a what? Olivia asked. The memory of Yuxfer shared was different from Freckles. Age had blurred the edges, but she could still make out a demon with dark brown wings. For finding hers to help with sickness, using his teeth to trap and... So, oh, you're a medic. That was so a medic, like a demon who was more plants than it was a medical demon. And Cyrus stays with you, said Yuxfer. So, and like Olivia repeated the name, and Freckles said me. So, and Olivia was like, I've been calling you Freckles. What is Freckles? Which is adorable. I love that. But we have Freckles' name is Cyrus. And Cyrus means spots in that language. And Cyrus said, I like my spots. Cute, cute, cute. Olivia, then, like, here is a highlighted part. So this is how demons communicate, she asked. Demons? Cyrus echoed. We are chimera. They aren't demons. They're chimeras. Oh my gosh. Thank God I didn't want to. Finally. So, and like the pristine flower helps activate the telepathy, like being able to read each other's minds and communicate telepathically. That's the word, yes. Okay. Pale flowers help open Chimera's mind if it is close, like, what do I call you if not Ishab? She made a motion so that might have been a shrug. I've been calling you Blue, Olivia suggested, motioning to her still pale blue ear. Blue is good, she replied. So, Blue is still being called Blue. We have Cyrus and Yuxfer, which is fun. Now, on chapter 25, we have it's a day 32, and a note, Tellius. Now, it's just normal things. And he tipped his then Olivia was like wondering, like, how many I got this several limbed in the dirt. How many packs are there in the forest? Because there is actually like where every chimera has like their own little packs, which is so cute, I would have to say. Really adorable. But Olivia asked, and Cyrus said many. Repeated 6 and 10, 10 and 10, and who's in charge of all of them? He tipped his head, all? And Olivia was like, yeah, who's in charge? Your governor or leader? IKEA. Cyrus just okay, just one IKEA, one pack. Olivia blinked. A pit forming in her stomach. So there are anywhere from 15 or 5 and 10 to 10 and 5 IKEAs, each one with their own pack. Yes, replied Sagittarius, and frick, she assumed once, realizing that demons were sentient, that they would have a society, social or government structure similar to Citadel. Now that she realized that had been stupid. There were it was silly. But here's another name. Guys, Olivia asked, "Who's your IKEA?" If you're wondering how that is spelled, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, it's spelled IYI. But still, I'm not completely sure really straight. He could be bi. We do support a bi king. Okay, now let's continue on. So, we're past into chapter 27, which is back to a normal, regular Olivia chapter. Olivia's breath came out in bubbles. She rose to the surface. He was your brother. We killed him. His name is Takikaza. Riley confirmed. The chimera that they had killed when Olivia first met Cyrus was Cyrus's brother, Taika. Takkaz, if you wanted to know how to spell it. Cyrus asked, who is in your pain? Who is your pain? Olivia washed her hair, getting the oil and grime out of it, letting the methodical movements calm her. My boyfriend, Elias. Boyfriend? It hurt. Still hurt. But Olivia could still remember her favorite moments with Elias. Him teaching her how to use a bow, their first kiss. Him telling her that he loved her and realizing that with both election and terror that she loved him back. She bundled up those memories and sent them to Cyrus. Oh, your mate. Cyrus realized. He drooped. Warrior. He frightened us. Not willingly, he said. She said, ugh. Citadel makes all able-bodied men go through military training and go on a hunt. He didn't want to go, but deserters are punished by death. They force him to fight? Cyrus growled. If warriors do not want to fight, then there should be no fight. Which is a very, very good point. Thank you, Cyrus. That is a very good point. Thank you, Cyrus. That is a very, actually, smart point. So, they're just sharing memories about, trauma. Basically, trauma bonding, well, sharing, well, it's mostly like getting to know things. And so next chapter rolls around, still Olivia's chapter. And in this chapter, Olivia is sent on like a little mission helping rescue a baby chimera named Tave, who was stuck in a little cave. Yeah. He was stuck in a little area in a cave and couldn't fly, and his like wing was a little broken. But yeah, he was helping save the moms, the baby. Well, and then they got like a little bit attacked by a sea monster. And Olivia had a medical like kit, so fixed up the baby. And the monster that had like been fighting, they were now getting attacked is an antry bulls. They are like aquatic bullfrog, like I would say like buffalo, but like also bullfrogs. And she got like attacked by one, and now her entire left leg was numb. So, and like chimeras can't go in water, so like, after she asked, like, can you hold your breath? He was like, chimeras can't go in water, Tava said. He was like, well, sucks to suck. Hold your breath. We need to swim. But perhaps Cydrus is right to extend a flower rather than a claw. Well, after like she had rescued and brought Tava out of the water and all that. Real sweet chapter. A nice slice of life. And chapter 30. Mama. I will be cutting this off short because this will be in part 2. I'm so evil.